Democrats gain control of the House. Republicans maintain their grip on the Senate. Going into January, what is next for the split Congress? Jessi Turnure joins us in studio with a look inside the nation's Capitol.
Yeah, Mallory, lawmakers are already starting to get to work, and I wanted to bring in Meet the Press's Chuck Todd to answer kind of what's next. So, Chuck, I've gathered that we're kind of seeing some legislation, or at least talks of legislation already coming out of there. So what are we seeing from Democrats?
Well, look, I think the first big clash is going to be over the rest of the spending bill this year. I mean, what's interesting is Democrats are already trying to flex their muscle a little bit on this. There's a must-pass spending bill to avoid a government shutdown that comes up in December. And some congressional Democrats want to tie it to the Mueller probe, believe it or not, which is there's been some debate with the president's firing of Sessions, putting in somebody who hadn't been Senate approved as an acting attorney general, with the fear of Mueller that could be fired. Some Senate Republicans, including Jeff Flake, the outgoing Republican senator from Arizona, would like a vote on this bill on the floor, and some congressional Democrats say they'll withhold their votes for the spending bill, which they actually need in order to get this through, because there's a chunk of Republicans who aren't going to vote yes on the spending bill, that say withhold the vote until they agree to allow a vote on the Mueller protection bill. So I think we're going to have a more complicated December, and never mind that the president might insist on full funding for his border wall. I think it's going to be a rocky couple of weeks in December when it comes to negotiations to avoid a government shutdown.
Yeah, people are already looking toward January, but I think we got to, like you said, get through December first. I know
we got to get through December before we know what January looks like. I'm serious.
Right. No, for sure. I've been hearing though some Republicans, even some of from our congressional delegation, they've been putting out this bipartisan message since they did lose the House, saying that they could come together with Democrats on things even like infrastructure. But is that all just talk?
Some of it's talk, and some of it's got to be real, because I think that I think you look at some of these Republicans who survived but had real races. They're the ones that are suddenly in their party's in the minority in the House. Let's take a guy like French Hill, to just pick somebody random out of the hat, right? He is somebody that had a real race. Saw the threat coming. He survived it. He found, he campaigned his way out of it. But he knows that, hey, 2 years, he has a constituency that's not happy that things seem so partisan. So that to me is lawmakers at least hearing a message from at least the middle of the electorate. Because remember, independents went overwhelmingly for Democrats in many of these House races, even ones that Republicans still won. So there is a chunk of voters who essentially punished the Republicans for one-party rule. And I think some of them heard that message and realized they got to get caught trying to do some bipartisan things.
It's like you knew I brought French Hill on my show this week. He did mention that. He also mentioned, too, I just asked him about how the speakership is going, and he was kind of saying, who's ever elected leader will become speaker. But have there been any challenges to Pelosi as of yet that are real threats?
Right now, I have not heard one that's a real threat. I think even now she met with somebody that some people are trying to recruit to run against her, a congresswoman from Ohio named Marcia Fudge, who has a popular following among the Congressional Black Caucus and the Ohio delegation, which is not chump change. But I'll tell you, I mean, there is the amount of backing that Nancy Pelosi has rolled out is you can't beat somebody with nobody. And right now, there's still nobody running against her. And I think they need a little more, if they're going to find somebody to beat her. And the problem that the anti-Pelosi wing of this Democratic House has is there's only about 25 of them. If there were 50 or 60 of them, I think you'd see some bigger names willing to challenge her. But right now, it only looks like there's 25 or 30 votes. And, there's an old saying, right? If you're going to shoot at the king, you better not miss. And I think there's a lot of Democrats who do aspire to be speaker who worry that if they run and lose, they may never get another shot at leadership again.
I think Pelosi would appreciate that you gave that metaphor, too. Thanks, Chuck.
You got it, Jessi. All right.
And you can catch Chuck, of course, on Meet the Press on Sunday morning at 9 o'clock. And you be sure to catch me right before on Capitol View. That airs at 8:30 every Sunday. We'll see you then.